Everyone, welcome to my second video for Waste Not What Not. My name is Rachel, and it's taken me pretty much like all of spring and the beginning of summers and a couple of days and to make my second video, but life is life and I'm not going to beat myself up over it, which is kind of the point of this channel, is just to encourage people just to get out and do what you want to do. Don't waste your time. If it's something project you want to do and you don't quite have all your resources, start doing research and get started where you can. So that's kind of the point of my channel, and to show you kind of my journey and my family's journey on our Waste Not What Not adventure, and just to give you like a little garden tour. I'm a first season gardener. I attempted last year, but I broke my ankle and a whole bunch of other life events of 2020. But just give you a little tour of what I have going so far. All right, so where should you start, or where I started with my garden was trying to do a compost. And I was getting hung up on like getting a bin and getting, the whatever system of compost. And, sometimes when things get really overwhelming, you don't know where to start, so you just don't start at all. But instead of doing that and getting caught up in, not having the specific equipment for it, I said, well, we can just do our compost on the ground, just like normal. And it's called, I think, like cold composting, as you can see over my shoulder. And I'll come through and I'll turn it. It gets watered because there's a peach tree we planted, so it gets some water with that, but I'll go through and turn it. It hasn't really made any solid compost because I'm just working on just building the just bulk material. Just kind of a rough rule of thumb, like 50-50 brown material to green material. So, your dirt, sticks, dried leaves, things like that, and then, vegetable, fruit scraps, pulled, grass, pulled weeds. Since I am throwing weeds in there, it's considered like a dirty compost, but our backyard is pretty much sand, so I'll be using this compost to get kind of like a starter compost to get a lot of material, and then use it around the yard to build up organic matter, and not necessarily like in the garden for in the garden because of the weeds. Just kind of depends on how that goes. But so what I do, I keep just my coffee thing. I cut watermelon today, so it's a full. I keep that on my counter. Wow, there's some coffee grounds in there. But yeah, so keep that on the counter. I just stab some holes through the lid, and pretty much with the kids, they eat a lot of fruit and vegetables. It's like 1 or 2 days that's full. Come out here, send my oldest out to dump it, and I'll come back behind him and turn it over, and that's it. That's easy composting. And of course there's tons of resources online, and if it gets really just overwhelming, just pick the simplest thing where you can start and go from there. All right, waste not, what not.